horse behind me stepped on my face, and then another one stepped on my back. Nobody ever thought that I would see again or walk again. If he didn't let me die out on the racetrack, and he didn't let myself die in coma and kill myself here, there's got to be a purpose.
His name is Rosario, a racetrack jockey who was blind and paralyzed. He was healed and is making his comeback story on the racetrack. Mr. Rosario, thank you so much for actually joining me, and it is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, sir, for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Can you walk me through how did you become a Maryland jockey, or what made you decide to become a Maryland jockey?
You know, it's I started out in California. I come from poverty, and you know, I really didn't know what a jockey was, what it contained to be a jockey, or what you needed to do to become a jockey. I was only 7 years old watching races, and I just didn't know that you can actually make a career out of it. And I got blessed that a friend of mine took me to Del Mar, and I got a feel for the racetrack, and I loved it. And you know, that was the start of my career. I started riding races in Southern California, moved to Northern California. Then
how was that like?
You know, it was a lot of change. You're moving out of. I left home at 14. I left home at a real young age to pursue my dream, and it was very difficult because you don't know that atmosphere, you don't know people. But you know, I've just always been a go-getter.
Right.
I've never been really a follower. I'm kind of a leader, lead my own life in my own style, and so I went down that route, and I wanted to be a jockey. I didn't have no fear. I still don't. So I went and pursued my dream, and you know, I was very blessed that I connected with great, amazing people that have helped me be where I am now.
That actually sounds like a great journey, man. Can you walk me through your injuries? What
You know,
happened? Yeah, go ahead.
the first one that happened was in 2014. Unfortunately, I moved my attack from Southern California to Northern California. Then I moved from Northern California. I got a call from a great person, Miss Lisa Allen, to come out to parks. I'd never been in the East Coast, so I didn't even know what it felt like to see snow, how cold it gets. And so I moved out to Pennsylvania. I drove across country. Didn't have much money, and I met with Miss Donna Service. To me, she's like family, and took me into her house. She became my agent, and then you know, we did so great at parks that I wanted to go on and go to the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont, the Breeders' Cup. So I picked up and went to New York in 2013, and then in 2014, unfortunately, my agent passed away. Then
oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you very much. You know, I had made a change from Miss Donna to Joey D'Angelo, that to this day he's like a father to me, and he passed away in 2014, and that took a big hit in my career. And then the beginning of the Saratoga meet, my horse stumbled real bad. I fell, and the horse behind me stepped on my face, and then another one stepped on my back, and that was a very devastating part of my career because nobody ever thought that I would see again or walk again. And very blessed and fortunate that God had a purpose for me, and I made a comeback. I mean, it took a year and 8 months.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. When you had those injuries, lying down at the hospital bed, did you have any hope of actually getting healed?
To be dead honest with you, I didn't. I wanted to kill myself. I really thought that, you know, why was this happening to me? Why would I not be able to see, be able to walk? And I did try to pull all the IVs and everything out of me and end my life, but then I couldn't. They sedated me again, and when I woke up after that sedation, I said to myself, God has a purpose for me, and if He didn't let me die out on the racetrack, and He didn't let myself die in coma and kill myself here, there's got to be a purpose. So I got to look forward and wake up every morning and be a fighter. You're gonna overcome it. It's not gonna be easy, but you can. And to this day, that's the way I wake up every morning. Not that you wake up very excited. No, you just got to be positive and keep your head up. Yes, there's going to be moments when you're by yourself that you don't think you're going to be able to overcome this. And to this moment, I'm living that moment now, but I have faith and I believe in God, and I know God has a purpose for it.
Faith is the one thing that actually kind of moves us, right? That keeps us going. The Bible also speaks about God having a plan and a purpose for us, right? A plan of good and not of evil. For the fact that you're waking up every morning, there is hope. God has such profound hope for your life. The Bible also talks about God being the one that heals. He's the one that kills. The Bible also speaks about there is power. There is life and death that lies in the power of the tongue. What kind of words were you speaking over yourself after, before actually waking up and realizing that God has a plan for
It's just I was just lost at the moment.
you?
But I said to myself, my mom was a huge believer, and she always told us that you stay positive and believe and leave it in God's hands, things will change. And that to me,
Wise woman.
it's devastating because unfortunately my mom has passed, but she left me a lot of knowledge, and to this day I believe things happen for a reason, and that's how I live. You just gotta stay positive, and it's not easy, but it is. I believe we all go through obstacles in our lives that we want to just quit, but you know
Tell me
what?
about it, man.
It's
Crazy.
hard because if I quit today, I'll always question myself, what if? And I don't want to be that guy that questions, what if I would have hung in there? What if? I just do it, and God knows when it's time for you to change and give it up or go a different path.
Absolutely. Did you ever think by any chance that you would actually get back to racing?
When I was able to overcome not being depressed and upset with myself more than anything, I said to myself, unfortunately at the time, Ramon Dominguez was announcing that he couldn't ride anymore due to his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I said a Hall of Fame rider has to walk away due to injuries. It's not my fault if it's my time to walk away due to an injury. But I said to myself, if God fixes my eye and I can walk again, I'm going back out there. And I believe God had a purpose, and I overcame it all. And then I went back out there, and I to this day I don't take no for an answer.
Amen to that, brother. You also told me that they physically, literally had to pick up your eyeball from the
Yeah,
sand.
and
Can you explain how the whole event happened?
I I couldn't tell you how it all happened because I don't remember anything of the injury.
Oh man.
I just know what they have told me, and I was very fortunate that the way that the eyeball was with all the nerves and everything that connect to it, it didn't get scratched enough to damage the eye to completely blow your eye. But it took 32 surgeries to be able to see again, and put a new eye socket, metal plates, a frontalis sling extension, and different procedures. And I owe all that to Dr. Morgenstern in Pennsylvania, the best.
All praise to the Most High, man. Like God actually healed you. That's my next question for you. How were you healed?
You know, physically, I'm in the best shape I have been in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel great, not only physically but mentally. Just the obstacles that you have to overcome to be able to prove yourself to the people, the trainers, the owners that believe that you might be scared that you should retire.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go out there and prove to them that you still have it. And it's hard to prove it when you don't get opportunity. So that's the obstacle that I'm trying to overcome now, to prove to them that give me an opportunity and I'll show you I can still do it. And the hardest part is the opportunities.
If you're a trainer out there, if you're watching this, give this man an opportunity. This will be a great comeback story, and I promise you, whoever gives him an opportunity, you will not regret it. I promise you that. So
Thanks,
let's
sir.
actually jump into that next question. Into how was your coming back to racing? How has that been so far?
My comeback from the 2014, it was difficult because I started back up in Pennsylvania, and didn't get many opportunities, and I picked up and went back to New York, and I got the best opportunity I got going again. Then from this comeback, unfortunately, it's been very difficult because I don't know if people don't believe in me anymore, or people don't want me to get hurt anymore. I just really don't know what obstacles I have to prove to be able to overcome it. So right now, unfortunately, I live a mile away from here, from Laurel Racetrack, and I'm commuting to Pennsylvania to parks because people seem to be more open-minded to give me opportunities again. So it's been very difficult. I mean, I've been back for 4 months. I have only won 3 races. It's been a very difficult roller coaster, but I believe you just keep hard work and dedication will overcome all this.
Oh, absolutely. How many races have you been in
I've been in
since you first
4,700.
started?
Oh, since I became a jockey, 4,700.
4,700. And how many of those races have you won?
300. I mean 300. 613.
613
Yeah.
races won. That's amazing, brother.
I've been very blessed that take away the injuries. I've been very blessed. I was second in the Eclipse Award for the leading apprentice of the country. I won a bunch of races then, and I've been very fortunate to have sat on very nice horses and ridden very good races. And just the hardest part has been the injuries.
The injuries, has that affected your mental health by any chance?
No, not at all, because I love what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and mentally it's exhausting for the fact that you can do it, and you just gotta put your mentality strong enough to handle the pressure,
Mm-hmm.
the downs, and not the opportunities. You just gotta keep knocking on that door, and I believe sooner than later something will open.
As the Bible also says, right, for us to keep on knocking and that the door will be open. When you seek, you shall find. Um, Also, when you ask, that you shall receive. So, my advice to you will be just keep on knocking.
Thank you, sir, and
It's
that's what
already
we're doing.
it's already in the scriptures. It's already written, right? God says to keep on knocking. So, when we hearken onto His word and we actually be doers of His word rather than just hearers, it will all work out. I firmly and 100% believe that that door is going to be open soon. But
Thank you, sir.
now the question comes down to, when that door opens, are you going to be ready?
Yeah, I'm just to be honest with you, I believe that people might not believe it, but these injuries have taught me a lot. For the fact is, and these difficult times that I'm going through right now, is
Mm-hmm.
just have patience and faith. Same thing out
Mm,
there. I think, to me, when you ride a race, you gotta have patience and relax. And before, when I was younger, you're so anxious to try to win that you make the
mm,
wrong moves. Now it's just I can look at a storm and not panic. And I think this obstacle that I'm going through now has taught me to just leave it in God's hands and have faith and relax. It'll happen. If it's meant to be, it'll be. And
absolutely.
now when I ride a race, I don't panic. I don't make premature moves. I just leave it in God's hands, and it will happen. You got to take some risk, but
Oh,
get a
yeah.
you will get a gift at the end.
Amen to that, brother. Your mom passing earlier this year, how did that affect you, like, mentally? How did that really, like, have an impact on you?
My mom passing, it destroyed me, because to me she was my biggest idol. I
Mm,
spoke to her every day, and we spoke about everything under the sun. And she always told me, "Keep your head up, son. Keep going, keep going." And now, with her being gone, I just hear her voice in the back of my head, like, "Don't give
mm,
up." And she always had a great heart. She never gave up, and she always looked at everything as a positive way, regardless if it was a negative person or whatever. She would always look at it, a certain person, and say, "It's a great guy." And regardless if he was in prison for life or doing something bad, she always seen the great side of everybody. And to me, not being able to talk to her every day, it devastates me, because there's been a lot of obstacles in my life that I have to overcome.
mm.
And now, not having your best friend there, which my mother, now my fiance, is my best friend, but she has always been my best friend. But losing a mother, somebody that knows you from
It's
birth,
tough.
is the toughest part of my
It's
life.
all honesty. I think losing a parent, either a mom or a dad, it's one of the most devastating pain that anyone could ever face. What is one principle or, like, teaching that your mom instilled in you that you're still using this day to get you through what you're going
Never lose faith. Be positive. Wake up every morning, and never let money change you.
through?
And my mom
Ooh,
taught me that from the get
that's
go.
deep.
And she said, "Listen, son, when you make it, don't forget where you came from."
Mm,
And to me, money comes and goes, but to be a
absolutely.
good person, it doesn't take money.
It
And my
remains.
mom taught me that never lose who you were, and be always humble.
She sounds like a wise woman, man. Like,
I miss her
wow,
deeply.
wow, man, wow, wow, wow. The Bible also talks about, money being the root of all evil. And so by her saying that, that's maybe one of the most deepest thing, or like one of the most greatest treasure that she could actually leave you. Walk me through after you found out that your mom passed, and what was, how did that feel like? What was the most painful thing about that moment?
You know, when they called me and that my mom was sick and she didn't want to go to the doctor, I called 911 and I had the paramedics go out there and evaluate her, and then they took her home to the hospital and they did studies on her, and that's when they found that her liver was gone, and they were
Mm,
only giving her 15 days because of the COVID. You weren't allowed to go into the hospital. They said they would release her to go home.
that's horrible.
Yeah, it was devastating. The moment they told me that her liver was shot and she would only have 15 days of life left at the most, I asked them, I said, what if we got a liver for her? Would you guys be able to do surgery and put it in her? And they said she was too weak to do that. And I was honestly, I love my mother so much that I was looking to take care of her for the rest of her life. And I was, if that meant having to give up my life for
Mm-hmm.
her to live, I was willing to give my liver to her. And
Wow.
they said she was too weak to be able to handle the surgery. And to me, this to this day, it still hurts. There was
Um,
nothing that I could have done. Didn't matter. The biggest thing that I question myself now is, should I have pursued this dream to become a jockey and move away from home? Because I didn't spend enough time with her. And I don't know if I should have stayed back and not pursued this dream, and I would have been able to have more memories with her because I left at a very young age. But I know she's looking down at me and she's very proud.
amen to that. Do you actually kind of regret the fact that you didn't spend much time with your mom?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's no money in the world that will ever bring her back. And
Mm,
to be able to spend time with her, was it worth it? That's one thing I'll always question myself. Was it worth it becoming a jockey and pursuing your dream, meaning that you didn't get to spend quality time with your mother? That is the hardest question to ever answer. But I look at it and I know every time everybody I've spoken to have told me that she always spoke very highly of me. She was very proud of me. So to me, that's what I take in my heart.
that's a wow, man. That's extremely deep, brother. That's really really deep. Walk me through. Do you plan to have a family, or do you already have a family?
No, I'm engaged to a wonderful woman, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, if God's plans are to have kids, I would love to. You know, I just it's not a one person agreement. You know, it takes
Absolutely.
both of us to become parents, and you know, I would love to. You know, it's just still up in the up in the air, and we'll see what happens. If it's meant to be, I think it'll be.
Wow, amen to that. There are some people who just wants to have kids, just to kind of show off. Like, what is your reason behind having a family? Like, why do you want to, have children?
You know, the biggest thing for me is I want to. Never thought that I would have that feeling
Mm-hmm.
to be excited to see a little one when you get home run to you and hug you and say "Daddy," and
Mm,
that kind of feel. And not only that, I want to have give everything to my kids that I didn't get, and you know, be the biggest supporters and look after them the most that I can and give them everything I can. And that's the biggest obstacle that I would love to hand
overcome.
down and you know have them be proud of what their fathers did
Mm,
and all those things. You know, growing up in poverty, it was difficult to spend time with my parents because my dad worked so much to provide for us
right.
that we he didn't have time to go to school meetings and all kinds of stuff because he was too busy making a living for us. And I'm very thankful for him. And my mom spent all the time with us, but we didn't have the funds to do things that I would love to do with my kids. So
Mm,
you know, I want to be able to have kids one day and be able to kind of do the things that I wasn't able to do financially and morally to my kids. You know,
so, like, not just being a father, but also being a father who provides.
yeah, being a
That is
father that
extremely
provide
important.
and being their best friend, somebody they come to whenever they have any kind of question or controversy or whatever the situation is, somebody they can come to and speak to and be their best friend. And you know, that open with me. That's what I would love to be with my kids.
Completely understand that. Completely understand that. Do you have a date set in terms of you wanted to get married? Do you have a set
No,
date?
we haven't. Unfortunately, we haven't set a date due to, unfortunately, the injuries. We were supposed to get
Okay.
married in 2020, then I got injured, and it's just been right now. The main focus is the comeback to get going again because it's been 4 months and very difficult roads.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest part is to overcome it and get going again. And I really believe that we will. And once we do, we'll be able to take a little bit of a vacation and set up the wedding and move forward.
Right. We had this conversation, right, where you and I were talking about, people who are not for God, people who don't serve God. It seemed like everything is just falling in their hands. Things are going so great for them, but then people like us who are, really serving God, who wants to know God, it seemed like we're struggling. What advice or what do you have to say about
I question that question a lot,
that?
but the biggest thing to me is you just gotta have faith, and I have always heard that God gives his toughest challenges to his best soldiers, and
Sure does.
He's put me through a lot of obstacles, but he's never left me down. I wake
Mm.
up every morning, and first and foremost, I'm very thankful for waking up and him giving me another opportunity to go out there and fight and to keep going forward. I don't mean that other people don't or aren't as strong as us,
Mm-hmm.
but God gives us our battles because He knows we can overcome them and we can do it. It's difficult, but I really believe He knows why He does it.
The Bible also talks about being cast down but not forsaken. So, as oftentimes that you have been knocked down, cast down, God has always been there to, like, lift you back up, to bring you back up. To me, that is a sign of hope. That is a sign to show me that God is there for me. God is with me. There are, many obstacles and trials and tribulations that so many other people are going through, right? But when we really sit down and look back from the times that God has gotten us through so many obstacles in life, it's amazing. We don't know exactly how it happened, but it happened. Has there been time where God has brought you through, trials that you like sitting back now and looking at it and like, how did that happen?
It's funny because I look back right now and with the situation I'm going through with work, it's you laugh back and like remember when you used to stress out because you were
Right.
overcome that. I can't remember how difficult it was to make the comeback in 2017, but I overcame it, and I'm hoping that I'll have the strength to overcome this one too the same way. But it's just funny because like back then you thought the world would end,
Right.
and
Right.
I overcame it. Now I want to just look back one day and say, remember when you were all upset in 2022 that you couldn't build your business back up? Look, now you're
Mm-hmm.
leading rider here or doing this. I'm just waiting for that day when I look back and I say, you remember how tough it was and you overcame it.
Oh, it's coming.
But I
It's
hope so.
coming.
I
It's
can't wait.
coming. The Bible speaks about there's a time and a season for everything. So I firmly believe that no trials or tribulations come to last. It's just a season. It's just passing by. I have this analogy that I always use, is right, where when fall is here, the tree is still standing. The roots of that tree is still standing. The leaves are falling. Some branches are falling off, right? That tree is a representation of you. There are some things that God is shaking up in that season. There are some branches that God is breaking off. There are some, things that He wants you to learn. But that root still remains. That means when we are built up and in God, even though the wind, the rain, the storm, they will come, but we will not cast down. We're still going to be standing strong in God. And so I believe that in your season right now, it may look difficult, but you're still standing.
Amen to that. I believe, I'm a highly believer that if God wanted my career to end, it should have ended in 2014 when this happened, and I overcame it after so many surgeries. I was able to walk and see again,
Mm.
and I'm here. And this last injury in 2020, if God wanted it to be the end of the day for me for my career, I wouldn't have been able to walk or get back to where it needed to be.
Mm.
So like you say, the I believe nothing is always forever. So the season right now is difficult. Keep waking up every morning, keep showing up. Sooner than later, something's got to give. And
It's
like
coming.
you say, that now spring comes, all the leaves start coming back on that tree. Took about 6 months,
Right.
but it came back
It
out.
came back.
We overlooking, and I believe we're unthankful for body parts in our body when they're not hurting. But the
Mm.
moment they start hurting, you cut a nail too short, my Lord, it hurts.
Sure does.
And you never really look at your other nails and say, man, thank you, God, that I have them all complete. Until the moment they hurt. And it's a tiny little thing, but how small it can be for you to realize that you're blessed to have it.
Mm. In other words, we basically tend to overlook the little things in life.
I meant to that, to
Eh,
me, now
wow.
to this day, I would say to everybody out there, be thankful for your families, for your health, for having a roof over your head. And everything else is just icing on the cake. Money comes and goes. There's people that are financially very wealthy, and we don't know their story. Guarantee you, a lot of them are not happy and
It's a
wish that
fact.
they would be in a smaller situation but be happy, and the money can't buy you happiness. And that's one thing I tell everybody out there: treat everybody like you want to be treated, stay humble, and work hard. And if you already reached the top, still act like you're in the bottom, because you got to keep pounding and keep moving forward. The moment you think you know it all, you don't know nothing. And
Only God knows all things, right?
I'm into
Only
that.
God knows all things. And we're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to love one another and being able to, shine the light of God. What do you value most about life?
Waking up every day, being thankful to wake up and put my, it's funny because when I wake up and my feet touch the floor when I get out of bed,
Uh,
I'm blessed that I can walk.
mm,
And, you know, I feel my career, I haven't been able to give it up, because when I sit on a horse, it's like sitting on this couch. I'm relaxed, I'm home, I'm happy.
mm,
And being able to, being away from it for a certain amount of time from the injury, I felt not complete. And that's why I keep
mm.
continue riding, because the money follows when you do something with passion.
That's a
But
fact.
I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love it.
That-
And
That's what you love to
money
do.
will follow you when you're doing something that you love. When you're miserable and you're doing it out of misery, yeah, you'll get the job done, but sooner than later, it's gonna get taken away from you. So
Mm,
you gotta be thankful for everything in life. I'm just blessed to wake up every morning, be able to open both eyes, and put my feet on the ground.
man, it's a deep story, man. I'm like so hooked up in the story. Like, this is insane, brother. Final words. If you could give a young man who wants to become a jockey or a jockey who's currently going through injuries, watching this, what is your advice that you could actually give them?
Just stay positive. Never ever lose faith in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you gotta believe in yourself more than anybody. And it's a difficult situation to overcome. But if you believe in yourself, everybody will follow. But the moment you lose faith in yourself, it doesn't happen. And I tell everybody that wants to become a jockey, put in the work, the hard work behind the scenes that people don't see. And don't make your voice be heard. Make your actions show it. And,
Mm,
we can all say, I'm going to be the best rider in America. But if you're not out there proving it, what sweat, Hard work, sweat, and tears will show you that you can. Just put in the time, put in the hard work. And all I say is don't let people confuse kindness with weakness. Keep working hard, but don't let them take advantage of you. Keep your head up, wake up every morning before everybody else. And I believe a lot of people see successful people, but they don't see all the obstacles they had to overcome, all the hard work they put in. So, we all got to put in our time and our hard work. Just keep your heads up. And if you go down and you get injured like I have, and you watch this video, see how many obstacles I've been through. You can go on Google and look me up, and you see that with God's help, there's nothing impossible. Just keep your faith, keep your hard work and dedication, and you'll overcome it.
My brother, thank you.
Thank you.
There is a hope and a plan for your life. Stay tuned. Next story coming up soon. Peace. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much,
You're
brother. I
the
appreciate
man,
it. Thank
bro.
you very
You're
much.
the man.